and starting. Hey guys, this is Mauisnake here. I'm going to be doing my 18th pro player analysis, and I'm going to be showing you my whole process for doing these, how I get the demo, and everything related to that. So today I'm going to be doing Rush from OpTiC. In my opinion, one of the top 5 players in North America. He's up there with Stewie, he's up there with Automatic. If Swag were unbanned, he would be there too, but he is definitely in that top 5 in my opinion. So I'm going to be displaying my monitor capture and how I get this. So what I would do normally if I'm looking for a demo for a player is I'll type Rush HLTV. I mean, because of this player I'm doing, so type find Rush right there. And I look, his stats are odd right here. They are all zeros, actually. This is odd, but I'm going to look at his match history anyways. And so you can see he's kind of been inconsistent lately. He was super good, I think, a few months ago. This is like more around the time, I think, of E-League finals, like November of last year. So he had a really consistent, he was just really consistent. He's kind of like a system player, in my opinion, where he'll basically, he works well with like Stanislaw, for example, because Stanislaw knew really well how to use him. And so, I don't think the newer IGLs for OpTiC, whether it's been Hiko for a brief period, whoever was doing it when Freakazoid was the IGL, I mean, was one of their players, and now Jason R. I don't think he's had the same kind of success with them, and it's kind of shown. He's like got these really inconsistent results: 0.53, 0.38, 0.59, 0.71, but then he's got numbers like 1.9 and 1.6 and 1.4 and 1.6, and the way I'm going to decide who I want to pick or which demo I want to pick is because of his rating and like when he had a really good one. So, and it's got to be against kind of a decent team. And Chiefs has proven that they're a decent team, at least in this recent IEM Sydney tournament. The other teams that are here would be like Winter Fox, but this is a 16-0. That's not really interesting to watch because there's no both halves. Against Ghost also, they're a proven team, Beast Money Crew. He dropped a huge bomb on them, but still, this Chiefs one looks good. It's balanced. It's on one of, I think, his better maps, Train. Train was one of OpTic's best maps. And this looks pretty good. NAF went off in this game too. I usually like getting it where it's like they have the best performance of the whole game. But second best game in recent memory, I mean second best player in a recent game in recent memory is pretty good too. So click the match page, click Go TV demo, start downloading it. And after this is ready, I'll show you just how I extract it and all of that. Just in the meantime, I'll show you why I don't go through the HLTV page and use their search bar. So if I type up Rush here and I search it, what happens is it comes up with this page, and I don't even know what to do with this. Like I click his name, and then I think it goes to a different page, like this page now, the stats page. Like this isn't useful, and I think if you wanted to go further to where I was, then you have to click complete statistics again, and it's just like extra clicks that I don't really want to have to deal with, and sometimes the Google search is actually better. So here we go. Download finishes. I saved a folder, saved in my CSGO folder. I'm gonna open it up, and Coastphone 420
for our WS YouTube.
So Coastphone, thank you for the donation. Yes, I'm doing this live on Twitch. I will be uploading this later to YouTube, but Coastphone, thank you for the donation. 420, blaze it, bro. So that's how I do it, and just open it up. I did that kind of quickly, actually, but if you use this program, it's pretty easy to understand. You click the open folder, you find the folder it's in, and you drag whatever was in that folder to your CSGO folder, because now it'll play when you type play demo. So I put Rush-OpTiC versus Chiefs on Train. So let's get into it. So I'm going to stop the monitor capture, and I'm just going to go into CSGO now. Starting my game up. So this is like something you want to do, obviously, if you want to do your own pro player analyses. I prefer you watch mine, just so I get some views and some publicity, but if you want to do your own, that's kind of like how you want to go about it. You want to find a map that you're interested in, for one, a game that goes more than like 20 rounds, because you don't want a really short single half, but you want a game that has both halves and they do pretty well, and you want to see how they play. So I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit. I'm going to change my crosshair settings too after this round. I'm going to change my view model. So Rush is the back green kind of player for OpTiC. He's like a linchpin in their defense. This is like where Coldzera plays for SK. he also plays this spot, and using the angles around here, where you're holding this angle and holding this angle, you actually have really good geometry in these situations often, because if they're peeking you, you have a better angle on like these little edges here, so that you're going to see them before they see you. So knowing how to play around these is really important. So hopefully we'll see more of Rush playing there. I'm going to change my crosshair settings also. Let's get the next round in though, because Rush is already dead, so we're not really seeing anything here. So I'll use green, I'll make my crosshair a little bigger. Actually going to draw an outline around it. And I'm going to make the gap actually a little bigger too. Okay, that's pretty good for viewing's sake. So second round, he buys a Deagle. They lost the first one. He doesn't buy armor, actually. And now he's still holding that back green kind of area. Moves towards here. I'm going to stop narrating it because you can kind of see what's going on, I guess. I'll tell you if anything interesting happens. But he moves towards connector, though, instead of holding back green. I think because Hayes was already there, and he's going to be playing kind of a faster rotator role. Maybe they have a read on Chiefs Esports. I don't think they would. I don't think they've game planned for Chiefs at all prior to this. So you're kind of seeing how he plays just based off of what he's seeing, I think, and what his teammate is calling. But we don't know what his team is calling exactly. But we kind of have a hunch now that they think that Chiefs is going towards B. And this is a pretty common anti-eco play to go towards B, so they're just going to do a full-out B exec, and Rush is finding himself on the bomb train. And this is a really good spot. Cold Zera likes to do this. I'm pretty sure Fur likes to do this also, is playing on the bomb train with pistols. It gives you a really close angle, and when you strafe out, if people are aiming at headshot level, when they're on the bomb, like planning or whatever, they have to flick up really hard to try to get you. With no armor, you're probably still going to lose that gun duel just because you're going to get aim punched. But it's a good idea to try to jump up on the trains and use them to your advantage on this map. It's called train for a reason, you know? Okay, so third round, buying a P250. And this is another interesting choice from OpTiC. So they don't full buy in the second round, but they make like 2 semi-buys, which gives them like the first round of the eco. I'll explain this actually. So basically, if you lose the pistol, your money's pretty bad. I mean, you have like everyone has like around 1,400. Maybe if you have kills, you got over 2,000 or whatever. But most of the time, you're gonna force buy there. And when you decide to just kind of do a deagle buy, it allows you to have full utility. You can even buy a glass cannon op for the first gun round. But what OpTiC decided to do is they buy deagles and just some pistols with not much utility. And in this round, they're buying a P250. So it gives them just a better chance to win, obviously, than just having USPs. Mixwell, I think, is saving for the op. That's why he's just on a USP. The rest of the members of Chiefs obviously have guns here. But it's really hard to just win, on certain maps with USPs. Train being one of them, because you get a lot of close angles. So you should really use that to your advantage and buy a P250, get that one-shot headshot kill at close enough range. So he seems pretty dynamic so far, Rush, though. Playing now at the E-box, and this is using his gun to his advantage. Notice he's not playing back green with a P250. That's kind of an inefficient angle for your gun. And now he's just kind of waiting for some kind of stimulus before he reacts. Right now, just waiting for his team. I think Mixwell would get first contact here. Mixwell playing a really hard angle to shoot at, but he's using the worst gun right now. So he could like be this kind of spotter player. He's not probably going to find a kill anyways with the USP. So just give him this kind of angle that's just kind of it's kind of an information angle. So Rush still playing here. Actually, here's one get out. And okay, so him and Tarek actually had a crossfire, kind of like a dual peak thing. I think Tarek was in ladder there, and that's definitely a planned play there, where Tarek and Rush will peak at the same time. So if Tarek isn't being bothered from ladder, and Rush though trying to push up there, which is kind of like typical. I mean, you want to peek when you have a P250. And now he's just looking for another kill. Notice he keeps playing all these close angles and not going like the typical route through Z. And he's able to find that kill on Pex, which another kill like you wouldn't find in Z, Like at Z, I don't think you're gonna they're gonna just look there. And that's almost where Pex was looking, actually, when he came out, which is weird. He kind of he was looking towards his right, expecting someone to play there, but kind of weird, because honestly, who's gonna play there? This is a pretty rare angle for a person to reach to, because, if they rotate like Rush did, the closest they can get is where Rush was without making noise or being spotted. So, kind of a Poor choice by Pex there. I don't really know the Chiefs Esports players at all. I've never heard of actually any of them, but they had a really good run, so I decently respect them. I mean, if they can beat pro teams, they're not too shabby or anything like that. Throws the flash right on top of the train. I don't know if he meant to do that. That's a really good flash, though. And now he plays E-Box again. And I think this is because Tarek and Naf have umps that they are peeking. Oh, that was a cool nade, too. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. Throw it from E-Box right into the window. And it did a significant amount of damage, too. It did, like, I'd say 30 combined. 94, 77, 91. Yeah. So now he's just holding. Instead of playing behind the E-Box, he's kind of playing... It's not really an off angle. Like, what you should do when you think about angles is think about how the people are going to peek you. And what a person's going to do usually is if they're in this angle, they're going to, like, strafe out, check the left side, and then they're going to check the right side. But checking the right side is actually a little awkward to do. So might be kind of a next level angle that I don't think is actually... When I look at it at first, I don't think it's, like, incredible, but it's actually better than I thought when I actually try to strafe out like that. So Rush, knowing that they're coming out of ladder, he's trying to slow him down by throwing a smoke, but gets caught by Alistair, who's holding him with an op. And that's what you need to do with your support offers. Just like have them come out last, and then just kind of hold the angles you expect the CTs to peek from. And Rush is able to get nothing out of that round also, so not looking too good for him in the beginning of this game, actually. So I think he's always throwing this flash at the beginning. I want to see if it bounces off the train this time. No. So I think that was just a fluke that he got that one time. And it's supposed to just land right here. And this is kind of a good way to slow a push. It's not a hard flash to throw. And he decides to play sandwich this time. I'm not sure the reasoning exactly. I think this is more independent, though, than playing E-Box. When you E-Box, it's really nice to have a guy ladder, or else you get kind of sandwiched or pinched by people coming out of T-Con and ladder. So sandwich is a spot where you have a little more flexibility on your own. You can do a little more solo playing. And look at the who's going in first here. It's Hayes running in first, Rush behind him. And that was so smooth and almost flawless how they were able to get into these positions properly. Hayes making a little more contact, I think, on top. Rush going to push down. And he knows he has to push at this point. They're kind of running low on time, and they're pressuring Pex. And Rush is able to not get another kill. Is he 0 and... What is this? He's got 1 kill. Dang, he's not really showing me what I expected out of him so far, but I think they took a little too long there. Now he's just got a P2 or a CZ, I mean a 5-7 with a flash and a nade. Obviously going to play close. You got a 5-7 on train. There's a lot of good angles to play, ladder being one of them. And this is a good way to do damage. Okay, so I like Rush's nades. I think there's a good reason behind throwing all of them, and they actually could definitely do some damage if the terrorist gets unlucky enough. They aren't like those guaranteed just like spam spots, but like they're kind of like, I mean, he threw one was through the window and one was through that just the ladder area, and these are pretty tricky nades. Moving between the angles. So Naf was getting contact, and what some people might have done there is like move up the ladder a little quickly to try to help him. But he knows what Chiefs Esports is doing now on these anti-ecos, and that they're playing really slowly and pretty methodically actually. So he decides to not do it and just hold this angle. And I'm not exactly sure why he is choosing this over the angle he was just in. But it seems... Oh wow, that's pretty funny. Nap type lol. So Rush picking up the op there, closing it out, and that actually ended up working. I think I guess when the time is probably running out, it becomes a lot better to play right under it, because he hasn't made noise the whole round other than that one nade. So I think Terrace probably forgot about him a little bit, and he expects them to kind of just jump down the ladder at that point. That's why he's holding right under, as opposed to holding the normal angle where you can dodge a pop flash. The angle he was playing gets completely pop flashed. but he expects their utility to be like kind of spread thin also at that point. And Chiefs actually on a pistol buy despite winning 5 in a row. It's pretty weird. I guess they had like a lot of close rounds. I mean, they did actually. The previous round was like 1 person alive. So I think Rush on gun rounds favors Sandwich over anything from the looks of it. And this is kind of it's kind of also a cold zero spot where he plays. This is the nade that time. And I don't know why he actually pushed him like that, but it worked. But the guy had like no health anyways. So far, not really finding anything from Rush that's too useful other than a couple of his grenades. The positioning under ladder was probably the best things he's done so far, where I'll just explain it a little more detail during this pause. I mean, here, now you can dodge the pop flash, so you can just strafe out if the flash comes down, and you could re-peek. But late into a round, they probably aren't going to pop flash, and they're just going to jump down, which is actually what almost happened there. He did get flashed, but it was kind of like he saw it coming, and I don't really know how Chiefs didn't kill him, actually. That was really strange. That guy, I guess the guy couldn't control his recoil after he landed, but yeah, that worked out really well for him. So that little ability to change his positioning to what the round, like the... Oh, actually, I got it. I got a way to phrase this, but I'll explain it after this round. Actually, I'll explain it now. No reason not to. So one thing that Stanislav brought to OpTiC was a really great sense of tempo, and I think this has been really undervalued with Stanislav as an IGL. I don't think people exactly understand why he's such a good IGL, but one of the things he's really good at is controlling the pace of a game and like exploiting what are the tendencies of people in the beginning of a round, middle of a round, late of a round. And Stanislav would like come up with strats that essentially, like, one thing that you do on train, I'll restart this round because I'll zoom around to show it. One thing you do on train is in the beginning of a round, something the person that's right here does is they'll always like shoulder this and then they'll throw a nade and then they fall back usually, or they'll push up like I think Mixwell's doing right here, or Naf. I don't know who this is actually. And what Stanislav would do is he would read those kind of situations really well, and then knowing what a position that a person is going to play later into a round, he kind of exploits that so that he has a strat, I think, for the beginning of a round, middle of a round, late round. And the fact that he was so on top of like those kind of segments of a round really helped OpTiC attain the success that they were able to get while he was the IGL there. So I think Rush actually has a really good sense of that also now. Maybe he probably already had that. He's a pro. I'm sure he kind of was aware of these things, but I'm sure playing with Stanislav definitely didn't hurt. So one thing that you can take from that is I think Hayes, or not Hayes, maybe Naf or Mixwell, I think it was Mixwell actually, spotted the guy at T-Con, and Rush never fully peeked. He actually was like kind of shouldering and almost giving his arm to the Chiefs opper to potentially bait out a shot so that his own opper could make a more aggressive peek there. And then he throws the smoke, obviously, after that. Now he knows the guy's there, and I don't really understand why he didn't commit to the trade, but maybe he just figured he couldn't get it and it would expose himself from another angle. But I think I would have gone for the trade, and Rush not doing it makes me rethink why I would do that, because it is really hard to try to find that trade frag there. And yeah, I think they knew where the last guy was, so he can just easily kind of knife out, run to the next bomb site. So he threw the flash in the beginning again, and now he's playing back green, and I think this is because they know that they're on another anti-eco round, so he doesn't want to play sandwich where you can get overwhelmed really easily, unless you hit all your shots. And it's just a pretty simple rotation, rotating it inner, trying to help out, knows that they're there, and he gets one kill there. And now they're doing that teamwork play again where Tarek plays with him forward outside. And it seems like Rush is pretty much always going to be E-box for this. And Tarek will, I guess, play sandwich sometimes. Sometimes what looks to be Olaf right now, if you just go over to Tarek. Yeah, he's like Olaf right now. And it's kind of like they're just finding a pick early. The thing with Train is that it's really easy for terrorists to just kind of run out in the beginning of a round. Given that the CTs don't throw too many nades. But like, if they don't take early control, it's very easy to abuse that. Like OpTiC is doing right now, where they're holding all these like tight choke points and just peeking them from a bunch of different angles, and Tarek's just abusing them at connector actually right now, or at a T-Con. Again, not really a spectacular round for Rush. I think Tarek is kind of taking the point in this forward setup, whereas Rush is playing like kind of a support, like I'll cover anything you're not covering, Tarek, I'm gonna cover it. He also seems to be one of the primary rotators. I'm not, well, it varies. OpTiC are running a couple different setups here on CT side, and they have man advantage. There's no reason not to just kind of like turtle up in these sites and watch. I mean, make sure you're just watching all the angles they can come out of at this point. So that's what they're doing. So he literally will always throw that flash towards train or T-Con over that train. So this is a really gambly position. I think he has teammates that are helping him by watching T-Con for him, but the fact that he turns like that, I mean, his turning feels a little awkward. Like he's turning almost before he's moving, so that he could technically, at a lot of these times, get exposed from the other angle. And I'm not sure if that's just like I think that's kind of just his style. I feel like I usually move when I strafe a little more, and I think a lot of people do. This is a really tough spot to play in. Also, this far into the round, and okay, notice that he's like looking up at it later. Like he knows later into the round, probably less likely for some kind of pop flash. And in fact, no one on Chiefs even has a flashbang. So he's actually, that kind of play is like actually could pay off huge for him if anyone comes down the ladder. If he just holds it. Okay, I think he got a read on where the enemies were at this point. He knows one went inner, and the other, I don't think they knew where Alistair was before he took that shot. But Rush getting up the ladder is a pretty nice spot to clutch from now, and I think he's gonna pretty much bring this out. Oh, Alistair getting a nice shot. But yeah, moving closer to the ladder later into the round, it not only gives you a faster rotation because you can go up the ladder quicker, but like it's just holding the angle better. Playing the rotator again, throws the smoke to help out his teammate at NAF. And he's just kind of spotting in between them. Something I don't like that Rush does, but it's just part of his style, it seems like, is like switching between angles very frequently. And I'm not sure why he doesn't just hold an angle more and instead decides to do this where he's like checking one, then he strafes still, or like he starts panning himself to the like upper B area, and when he's in ladder he seems kind of skittery, but he's one of the, just without a doubt, one of the best players in North America. So definitely is working. Okay, so this is something you might see in your games. A big wall of smoke B exec. He decides to push it immediately, dodges the flash, and the whole Chiefs lineup is just getting completely mowed down here by him and Tarek. So Tarek was on the other side of the smoke at ladder, and he definitely wants to help him when he makes that play. I don't think he would do the exact same. I don't think he would do the same thing if Tarek were not in ladder room. So pretty good. He's good at helping his teammates. He kind of seems like this like support player, where he seems like a kind of a support player though, where like in these kind of CT setups where he's kind of filling in the gaps, and Tarek is taking point. Mixwell is actually taking point. I think Naf is being really aggressive at B, and he's kind of there to just plug in, seal off all the like little cracks. And these are people you need too. You need people that are like Tarek that can take these forward gunfights, be aggressive. But you absolutely, I think it's even harder for Rush actually, and these people that kind of have to be these fill-ins to just like, you know, smooth out what's going on. Tarek, it's easy for Tarek to just push up there and just kind of like fight. It's kind of a gambly, ballsy thing to do, where you push up ladder like that. But Rush needs to be aware of what is not being watched now, and he needs to just, you know, plug all those spots in. And he's actually playing the rotator a lot, and he's trying to like manage a lot right now. Seems like he's like trying to help make sure that they're not overwhelming inner too easily, and he's also making sure they're not just running out of T-Con. And really good nade. His taps on the guy at upper B were really great also. He's got that angle really down where he just gets on that, comes out Z, and tries to help out. So last round of CT half, full buy. So his optimal buy is smoke, flash, molly. I mean, one of every nade, except for obviously the decoy. And they're getting aggressive here. And so notice what Rush and OpTiC are doing right now really quickly is they recognize Naf died. They have a huge man advantage at A right now, or just like presence at A. So what they want to do very quickly is after Naf dies, he's gonna make that flash play. He wouldn't do that flash play, and he's never done that flash play with that when Naf hasn't died. But since Naf died so fast, they need to get info fast. They need to find out where are the T's, are there more of them, and does he just need to help basically? I mean, like, he needs to help. Where does he need to go? So he's just moving around again, trying to like clear all these little angles and whatnot. Like he seems really skittery, but he's actually being pretty methodical about all this. King sick. And yeah, he just needed to win that fight. So I think probably the best way to retake B involves someone getting up on top. It just gives you, like, you can clear so many angles so quickly when you're up here. You can clear Summit, this area right here. You can clear back oil really easily. You can clear the bomb train. Your only danger is obviously getting shot from upper B as you're doing this. But he just needed to win that fight. That's one of the times where it's just like you needed to hit that shot. But King Sick, thanks for the follow. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, I am doing this live on my Twitch. So be sure to tune on my Twitch in the future, Twitch TV/Mauisnake. And King Sick, welcome to the Maui Club. Boop. So, on to the second half of Rush's pro player analysis. Pretty long pause. Seems to just be a pretty standard B hit where they're just going to run down. They don't even have a smoke. Or wait, I think they just got Naf outside to try to fake some kind of A play, but Rush now entry fragging, and hence his name, Rushing. And he got that kill, as he was supposed to, or as he needed to. And I think because he picked up a USP, he's going to hold back instead of pushing forward. A lot of teams here would push forward, but since they have a molly on top of that, they're not trying to like force the issue and die too fast. They're trying to stay alive while obviously getting kills like Rush is doing here. And he's gonna have a really sick T-Hap. His CT side wasn't that incredible, but he had like a sick, really sick rating and kill death. So I expect him to just be going off, and he already has 4K on the pistol round. Picks up the pistol, and notice he's just trying to waste time like there. Like if he didn't hit these shots, he just doesn't. He didn't re-peek any angles. Like if he actually, he might have re-peeked like one time, but like he'll swing out and just kind of hold for a bit, then re-peek another angle, like left or right. He's not gonna like just peek the right side over and over and over again, which I think is a mistake a lot of people make on this map. When they need to run to you, you don't want to give them opportunities to just hold you and kill you, obviously. You want to be dynamic. You want to change it up. You want to be, different angles there. So Rush working with Hayes now. I think Rush had a ton of money, so he had money for full utility pretty much, and an AK and head armor. So just playing a little slower there. Just doing a pretty simple anti-eco there with Hayes. I mean, nothing spectacular or really groundbreaking yet again. And they actually switched it out. Now Mixwell has the AK and Rush is picking up the ump. So I assume, just based off that that he's gonna go in first. Sorry, I was reading the chat for a second. So he's just booking it out there with I think that's Naf, and he's just clearing the whole bomb site out. He's actually really thorough, which I wasn't completely expecting from his name. I don't think people really play like their name or anything like that, but necessarily speaking. But yeah, he's really thorough. He's not really. He goes fast, but he's like clears all the angles and he holds for a while, tries to get information. By just simply standing there for a long time and not planning, what he's able to do is just like understand that no one's flanking from Old Bomb or Ivy at the time. So like that just gives a lot of information for his team, and they kind of like can pinpoint where the enemies are going to be by doing that. So notice he goes with his teammate Naf, and they're not playing like 2 1v1s or anything weird like that, which I don't want to comment on, but like I think it just happens a little too often. They're playing directly with each other. Like there's no way that Rush doesn't trade the kill if Naf doesn't get it, or vice versa there. Like he's right next to him. He has a different angle. It's like perfect trade opportunity, perfect teamwork there to win the 1v2. I mean, there's not much to it really. It's just play together. Like just don't play on your own. Don't stay on the bomb when you don't need to like that. You can move up, play with your teammate. You don't have to feel stuck. And that's what a lot of like newer players do. They think, oh, I'm stuck here. I'm held here. And it's like, are you really though? Are they really posted up with an op on you? And even if they are, you sometimes gotta gamble it that you can get out, so you just get a significantly better position. So I think it was based off of maybe Spawn that Rush was like the last one out there, because he kind of felt like a support player there, just throwing those flashes over. And I think it was based off of Spawn. That's why they made him throw the nade in the beginning and then the flashes. So let's see if he does something faster this time. But he pretty much died instantly there, just going for the peek on top. Again, nothing really too crazy about that round. So I think he hears this guy. Some reason on the demo right now, it's not hearing footsteps that easily. Like when he's running around right now, I actually can't hear it. But he definitely heard that guy, so he just moves to a tighter angle and he's ready to just surprise him by peeking out just a little bit. Okay, so Rush seems kind of random. Like that didn't seem very thorough at all. Like there were angles there that he definitely didn't clear, and he still hasn't really cleared. Like that like old hell area, but maybe his teammates spotted it, I guess, and so they're on the same page there. Now playing a kind of a nice off angle, not letting the guy just peek him when he's in the corner, but instead swinging out on him to make it a little more difficult, which is exactly what happened. And now Rush is just playing the time. He's actually not peeking there. I think a lot of people would be baited by that op shot to run out and peek, but instead he just holds his ground. Knows that if he stays alive, there's no way they lose the round. But if he runs out, there's that slight possibility that him and Mixwell manage to die and lose the round. So something to keep in mind for your actual competitive games. In a pug, I feel like he would have ran out, but it's serious business. And there's a lot on the line. So he tries to take a quick peek and is halted by a Molotov and several flashbangs and just dies right then and there. Trying to get out. Okay, so I think Rush works a lot with Tarek. Because they're playing a lot together on CT side and now T side. And he flashes for Tarek. And it's a little different than what I thought. But it seems like Rush is actually kind of more playing like a support in this game. Where he's like throwing the nades and whatnot. He tries to get out with Tarek, and Tarek's able to find the little timing gap where he can get out, but Rush is not as lucky. So he gets taken out. And not much Rush could have done there, I don't think. He kind of just has to go out there. I mean, he could have jumped behind the train a little faster, maybe, but nothing too spectacular about that either. So he's like supporting Mixwell here, where he throws the flash, and he's probably going to jump across to bait the shot, and it works. But he gets tagged. And because he has low HP, I think OpTiC are deciding to make Rush a lurk here. You obviously, I mean, in a late round situation, you either want a low health person to be running in first or to be lurking. I'm almost always certain this is what people want, or to be opping, I guess too. I think that covers all the bases. So now Rush is like becoming that lurk. He's hanging out towards Ivy, kind of still distracting them a little bit. And this late into the round, you kind of would expect an A play if they're throwing their Molotov and their smoke grenade towards Ivy. So this might sell a fake just kind of decently versus Chiefs, but in fact it doesn't at all. And well, it's because they were actually going to go A. But I was looking at the rotations, and it didn't seem like actually Chiefs were rotating out of that spot, which is a little surprising. Okay, so he's opping now with low HP, and I think he's just going to save it. No, I'm going to just fast forward this. Gives the op to Mixwell, and buys a P250, keeps his armor from the previous round. Taking some pre-fire shots at the ladder. And I guess it's because OpTiC, most of them don't have armor, that he's like so far in the back here. And I get that he's holding this because the P250 can one-shot kill from here, but if he actually runs out the top here, I'd find that really interesting, given he has a P250, but it looks like he's going to do it. And, I mean, it clears the tops of the trains, and it actually works out, but no one at Z or anywhere farther back able to kill him really helped make that work. It's kind of a gamble. I mean, it's basically just a gamble, which is what you got to do on these kind of, like, light pistol, very light utility buys. And here he moves forward. He doesn't feel like he has to waste the time or anything anymore. They have a huge man advantage situation. You want to push your... you don't usually want to push your advantage like this, but given given his teammates' positionings, the likelihood that Chiefs is actually going to go for this, he finds it beneficial to do it. And if he takes a gun out of Chiefs' hands, I think their money, it's okay actually. It's okay that they could buy again, but pretty important actually. Now that I think one guy actually can't buy now for Chiefs. Actually, two of them can't buy. They can get one drop, but one guy just straight up won't have a gun. So definitely makes sense to push in that situation. He faked a little bit of presence towards Ivy, but comes back to help them at B. And now he's like watching the flank again, as opposed to like running in first. I think he might still run in first though, given he has only one smoke grenade. So he throws his own smoke grenade down, and then he'll just fly out as his teammates are flashing him in, hopefully to B. Now that Chiefs throw that molly, they hear them, and it seems like they're rotating a little bit towards B, just kind of cheating over, especially since that one guy pushed Ivy in. But Rush finds a really good entry, and he's finding the other guy. And he's able to get both, so really good entry frag job by Rush. Luckily, one of them just jumped straight into his crosshair. And with 3 health, I don't know, holding this angle is a little difficult. I think you gotta be definitely the peeker here. So he's just kind of waiting for Chiefs to try to move up on him, and then he's gonna probably swing out at some point or another, and he might run right into Alistair's crosshair, but unable to find the kill, and that's gotta really hurt because that would have pretty much sealed the game, I'd say. And yeah, just kind of like, I mean, he heard the guy running, and then he peeks, and that's pretty unfortunate for him. But I can already bring up a few things for the summary already. By the way, I'm not really, for the Twitch viewers, because I'm uploading this to YouTube, I'm not going to be... I'll respond to chat after the game is over. But donations and follows will still get a pretty instant response right now. So just they're going to their B exec again. They found, I mean, Rush was able to get those entries, and wow, I'm surprised he didn't see Alistair there because he would have died. And now they have a huge man advantage. I think in this case they would not push as much, but it seems like Rush kind of likes hanging out around this oil and like summit area. And because he knew he couldn't get the trade that quickly, he goes for the like series of 1v1s instead. And this is a pretty smart play. Whereas you usually think trade. You actually sometimes have to like wait to make that a cleaner engagement for yourself. So if you can't find yourself playing with your teammate because you guys are just at completely different angles, that's when you say make it just say 2 1v1s or something like that. That's like a comm that'll come out. Just say play 2 1v1s or play X amount of 1v1s. And that's a weird name, but thanks for following, Granny. So that's my summary of Rush, or that's my analysis of Rush. That threw me off the name there. But here's Rush's stats recently. He hasn't actually been the top performer for OpTiC lately, but here's some things I got to say about him. So Rush, he seems to be a system player, where he fits really well into the OpTiC system. When he plays with Tarek or he plays with Mixwell, he always knows what to do and how to support them. But when he's doing, it's like he can shift from that kind of like semi-support player in the default to becoming the entry fragger in the later round. And the reason he is the support player in the default is because he's going to be the entry frag when they actually do their exec. They've practiced the exec all the time with Rush running out. But so Rush is going to use all his nades in the beginning of the round to try to, you know, get some kills maybe, set his teammates up, and that's a pretty drastic shift in playstyle that I don't think a lot of people can do really well. And I think Rush is just incredibly strong player that he's really just smart about like when he's peeking and like what he's checking all the time, and like I think he's like just really underrated, and that's why I wanted to do this. And I kind of like got that brain, I think, out of him, or like how he's being used in OpTiC is really good in that sense that he's just, you know, like I just explained, like he's in the default, he's a support player, but then he can like snap his fingers, flip a switch, and now he is the entry fragger, and that's pretty cool. So there's Rush, kind of skittery though at times. And that's something I've noticed Swag does a little bit here and there. When Swag plays certain scenarios out, the way he plays them is like kind of a skittery motion. And I don't know, I can't accurately give an assessment of how I think those work out, because I think they just work out differently for different people. And Rush apparently works out for him, where he's kind of like clearing a bunch of angles back and forth constantly and like just moving between them. And for Rush, it must work out. But for others, I don't think they can do it as well as that. And if you have really good kind of like flicky aim, I think that helps you a lot too. So yeah, that's it for Rush. Really good at using the timing in the round though. That's another thing that I think goes unnoticed when you're watching a game unfold in a in like a VOD, or like when you're watching it on Twitch or something like that, where you don't see all the little adjustments that a player makes based off of how the round is progressing, or just literally off of the time that has passed by in the round. So that's basically my analysis for Rush, guys. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'll read the chat now, but I'm gonna stop the recording.